everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy, and I wanted to use some of the PrizmPour colors from the latest set. I think most of them I'm using today are from the Tropical Pearls. To do kind of a Beatles Back type bloom. Now, this is also me taking some time to practice blowing the blooms out myself. So if you follow my channel, you know I am not, I don't have the greatest track record with that. So sometimes I struggle with doing that, but I'm tired of that and I want to work on it. So I am trying to practice blowing them out myself so I get better at it. I don't like to be bad at things, so sometimes I don't practice them long enough to get over my struggle. So now I learned about how to layer these from Shelly, who's the one who developed the bloom recipe and technique. So typically what you do when you do a Beatles Back is you lay down kind of a layer of a dark color. A lot of times it's black or dark blue or Diox purple or whatever. And then you put your interference colors on top of it because they're gonna interact with the light and all that and create this like iridescent shifting, kind of like a Beatles Back. So that's kind of where the name comes from. But the more you do these, the more that you can kind of make them your own and do them different ways. I'm gonna kind of start with that premise, but instead of using interference, I'm going to use some of that set that has that are sort of pastel-y, because they have that interference property to them. And then I'm going to use Opalite, which is it's a Bling It color, and it's a bonus color from the Primary Elements set, the one that just came out, the Starburst Galaxy. So now I mixed these PrizmPour colors and a little bit of Valspar Reserve pouring medium I had mixed up, and I noticed that they look cloudier when they're wet, but then they dry clear. So just know that if I had just mixed them with some Jo Sonja or with my regular Infinity, the colors would look a little more vibrant. So I'm just mixing them up real quick, giving them a quick stir, and then we're gonna layer them. But I'll show them to you as we go. So when I first tried this Valspar Reserve, I kind of compared it to the Infinity Gold because Lowe's said that it was going to be the new untinted paint base for Infinity Gold. And I was like, okay, a lot of people who do the blooms love the Infinity Gold from Sherwin-Williams, myself included. So there was rumors that it was going away, and then there was obviously paint shortages and all that stuff that happened last year. So it's still on the shelves. So apparently that's not entirely true. So the Valspar Reserve, if you've seen that video, I did it a while back. It seemed to perform fine, but I noticed as I got close to the bottom of the the can, it separates a lot when it sits still, which is normal. But it just seems to separate more than others. So I don't know if that will fundamentally hurt anything, but just because I have shown you guys those colors before, I wanted to, not the colors, the Valspar Reserve before, I wanted to share that I found that to be kind of annoying on the bottom of the can. But I do have a link below with what I usually use in blooms. With the PrizmPour, you can mix it right into your bloom recipe, but here's something to be mindful of. The PrizmPour are in a very glossy untinted paint base, so they're very glossy. So if your bloom mix is very glossy, sometimes it can make your paints kind of slide around too much because your mix is too glossy. So one thing I recommend is either use less Jo Sonja in your mix. So maybe you mix up your PrizmPour directly into your untinted house paint, which is what I did with these, and then just add just enough Jo Sonja to thin them out. What Saskia does, and it seems to work great for her, is she just doesn't mix them into any untinted paint base at all because they are already in one. And so she just thins them down with a little bit of Jo Sonja. So I haven't personally tried that, but they keep a lot of the vibrant color, and because they already are in an untinted paint base, that should be fine, you know? So, but because they're very glossy, I just want to let you know, like, anytime you're dealing with a high gloss paint, you don't want to overly mix a gloss medium, whether it's a gloss varnish or whatever, because in the bloom recipe, if your mix is too glossy, what happens is your paint sort of slides around as it dries. That's one of my primary contentions with the Behr 8300 paint base. It's a beautiful base. It's very glossy. It dries clear, all that good stuff. When I used to do blooms with it, if I didn't mix it with a different base, my cells, as my work would dry, they would move, and it used to irritate the poo out of me. So, because you finally get something that you love, you don't want it to dry weird. So I finally figured out that it was just very glossy. So once you figure out that the blooms are a giant chemistry experiment, you do a little better, you know what I mean? Because they are. But like, here's an example. I mixed this opalite the other day with Sherwin-Williams. Sorry, my camera's being weird. Sherwin-Williams and Jo Sonja. It separated a little, but nothing like the other ones did. So this is opalite. So this is a bling it color, and this has pretty much all of the interference represented. You can kind of see the rainbow. That's why it's called opalite. So you can use this in acrylic or in resin. Look at all that sparkle. So I'm going to use this today. I'm going to use Carbon Black from Matisse, which has a lot of bubbles in it. So, Carbon Black, big woo, everybody's seen black. We're going to use Bohemian C from Colourarte. This is a PrizmPour color. See how it's just a really nice light color? We're going to use Wasabi from Colourarte. This is a PrizmPour color. We're going to use Moody Lilac, PrizmPour color. Beautiful, beautiful. And again, these are a little bit more vibrant than they look here because of that Valspar reserve. And this one is Satin Doll. These are all from the same set. The only one I don't have over here is Shiny Taffeta. And I probably should have used it, but I'm too committed to what I'm doing now. And this one is Whispering Wind. Okay, so I'm gonna get my spinner. I'm gonna use, and I have not blown out a bloom in over a week, so I'm kind of nervous because I really need to practice that. So I'm gonna get my spinner. Don't mind my paint runoff. I have hardly had any time to paint, so I definitely haven't had time to change this guy out. So this is a little 8-inch round. This is a Frederick's canvas from Blick. And I also might use a little bit of Midnight Blue from Matisse along with the black. So we'll see. All right, so let me just get going because this video is already long. I am using a Valspar Eggshell pillow, and I have to remember exactly what it's called. I'll try to remember to put it in the description. I got it at Lowe's, and I like it so far. I like the consistency of the Glidden premium eggshell, but this one has less bubbles, so that's kind of a win. And I do like the consistency of this one too. It's a little bit I don't know if thicker is the right word. Okay, that's probably too much paint. I don't really, I think my brain's a little fried, so I don't know if we can trust my word choice at this point, but so far it's pretty good. Definitely have a lot of pillow paint. Just want to make sure I have enough. Kind of spread out. All right. I definitely tend to use too much of it, so I'm sure we have enough. Then I'm gonna probably use too much paint, so. I just told you guys that there was not bubbles, and then there's like 54 huge ones. Sorry. Loud. You're like, hey, we don't want to hear that. And there's some boogers in my paint. All right. All right, well, seriously? I just bragged about you, pillow paint. Just told all these nice people you don't have bubbles. I mean, they all have some bubbles, right? Okay, so, zoom you guys out just a little bit so that my autofocus doesn't become problematic. Bring this light over a little bit closer. Hopefully it's not giving you a huge glare. Okay. So, dude, I'm so sorry guys, but these bubbles are bad. It's like there's not a lot of them, but the ones that are there are big. Like they're the kind that'll pop up through the thing. All right, so we're gonna put a black puddle, a pretty sizable one, down along with some midnight blue. And again, this is your basically the base that those colors are going to kind of, the light will refract over the colors up against this dark base and it'll just be really cool looking. Same with the midnight blue. We're just going to kind of drizzle it. Midnight blue is sort of like a Prussian blue. It's a little bit different. It's a really pretty color. And then just a little drizzlies. I did a Beatles Back swipe once where I did black and Diox purple, and I don't remember if it was Prussian blue or phthalo blue, but it was a lot of fun the way the colors interacted, and turned out really beautiful. Okay, so this one is Whispering Wind. So what I like to do with these is I like to drizzle them, so a little bit of that color kind of comes through various places, you know. Now we're gonna do Satin Doll. I guess I could be cleaning up after myself, huh? And I keep hitting my camera with my head. Sorry about the bumpies. All right, and Wasabi. Moody Lilac. Bohemian Sea. I feel like I have too much paint piled up here. The problem with that is when you are blowing them yourself, sometimes it's hard to get all that paint to move. And then we're going to do a little bit of opalite, which is that bling it color. Oh crap, that was a lot. All right. I'm making a colossally big mess. Where's my lid? There it is. All right, so now all we're gonna do under the cell activator is put a little bit of the black and or midnight blue. You don't want a bunch, but you want the contrast so that the white cell activator has something dark to spread out over. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm gonna do a little bit of the midnight blue. I'm gonna kind of drizzle it. And then put the black where it's not, if that makes sense. At least that's the way it goes in my head. Okay, hopefully we're on track there. Yeah, I said I was gonna put it only where it wasn't, but I put it kind of everywhere. All right. Kind of nervous because I find that when I'm practicing blowing out blooms, even like when I was practicing doing them with a hairdryer, because the hairdryer sometimes is hard to control to get an even all around coverage. I found that if I didn't do them often enough, it's like I lost my mojo and had to fight to get it back, you know? So I'm hoping that that is not the case today. I was giving myself a pep talk the other day. I was like, you know, I have been doing this technique for probably 2 years. I was like, there's tons of people who learn how to blow out their blooms and do them well. I am one of those people. I need to just convince myself it's just going to take a little practice and stop being such a baby about not being great at things at first, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm working on. Working on not being a baby. Now, my camera is right above me, so I'm very sorry that you're about to see my big head. My hands are just way too dirty to reposition it, and we're going to have to deal with that for now. So I occasionally get comments about getting my head out of the way and all that, but this is part of this technique, so sorry in advance. Let me zoom you in a little bit. Okay. So this is M-Gram titanium white cell activator. I mix it with Aussie Floetrol. 3 parts, excuse me, excuse me, 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part paint, similar to what you would do with an Amsterdam paint. I get this at Blick. I have a link to Blick below. I have my Colourarte link with my 20% off, which is Mandy1120 below. And I get my Australian Floetrol from Pixel Paint Designs. And I have that link below where you can save 10% off using Mandy10. So before I forget to tell you guys, don't forget the description box. There's some good stuff in there. Okay, I'm nervous. All right. And here's the other thing. I can't tell if this was my really old cell activator or the one that I just mixed up recently. Judging by the halo I'm getting around it, it should be the fresher one. But I'm taking all kinds of chances today, you guys. All right. Okay, I definitely blew this out wrong, and I'll explain more when I'm not out of breath. Whew, because I'm very out of breath right now. Okay. Ooh. My goodness. Okay. Hold on, I still have to try to fix some things, but I have to get it before it sinks. It's somewhat recoverable, but not great. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. We might be able to survive this. I definitely had too much paint in the middle, so when I blew it out, it all began to sink. It was too much. On the outer edges where you see the truly white lacing without it kind of muddying with the black is really what it should look like. It's just like this right here. Can you see this? Yeah, like this right here. That's what it should look like. But I was doing like emergency damage control trying to fix my bad blowout. Well, that may not get where I want it to go. So I used a little too much cell activator because what I have found as I'm practicing this myself is sometimes I need more to get all the way around than I would if I were to use a dryer or something where it's a little bit more controlled. So what I'm trying to do now is at the very edge, if you can get the lacing just the right way, you can spread it out a little bit. So I'm obviously trying to spread that out so it doesn't look like these are like skinny deformed flower petals, but I didn't do a great job blowing it out. Again, this is why we practice, but this is why I get frustrated too. So a couple things. What you're supposed to do when you blow out your blooms, and if you've taken the course, you all know this. What you're supposed to do and what actually happens are miles apart when you're learning. So first of all, if you're doing blooms, you have to be patient with yourself. So what you're supposed to do is blow out the center, basically enlarge your target. And as you enlarge your target, bring your face up a little bit so that your breath expands. That's the part that I struggle with. So what I used to try to do is I would like spread out first so that it's a little easier to do all that. And I didn't do this time because I was really trying to go for what you're supposed to do. And as you can see, I definitely struggled with it. But you can probably see the way these colors interact. And as they dry, even though this is not the most gorgeous bloom ever, but as they dry, they're so magical looking. as they interact with the black and the white cell activator. And so what you saw me doing when I was trying to clean it up is trying to catch the edges of this lacing and get it closer to the edge. Now, I'm tempted to keep trying to do that. However, some of it's going to spin off, so it's fine. So what I'm going to do is, in the places I didn't do a great job, is I'm going to just kind of try to make it look like we did this on purpose. You know? Well, maybe we're going to do that. Just swirl them around a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. That was lame what I just did there. You can see the colors, I imagine. Now, in this situation, it's kind of good that I used too much pillow paint, because what will spin off will probably get us to about here. But ideally, some of this white lacing looks really lame because as I was blowing, it was sinking into the paint because I didn't spread it out well enough and there was too much paint on the surface. It should look like this right here, like this right here. I mean, some of this would occur because there's black underneath it, right? My black is also a wee bit thin because I just stirred it up. But I think you'll still see the beauty of these colors together. And this will still be recoverable as a bloom, I think. So I'm going to pop a couple bubbles and then we'll spin it out. I can see bubbles that will cause problems. All right, let's spin it out. And if you notice, I had a big bunch of white cell activator left in the middle. So all I did is gently blow in there to break it up. See, I told you in this case, some of this would work out having too much pillow paint because now all the parts that we didn't cover are covered because we had so much pillow paint that we were able to get it to the edge. But that doesn't always work out like that. But I would say if you're practicing, it's better to have more paint than you need than not enough. So this actually turned out to be pretty nice looking in spite of how I blew it out. So yeah, let me know what you think. I think we still have too much paint on. So we're gonna give it another good spin. Then I'll bring you in for a close-up. There is a glob of something in my paint right here, and I'm really afraid to get it. I'm afraid that it's going to cause mass destruction. So I think I'm not gonna get it. But anyway, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is what our lacing should look like. Here, here, and we have some of that. But we definitely have some parts where me trying to fix it caused some problems in the paint and the composition. Just popping bubbles. That center is still a little bit wobbly, so let's spin her out a little bit more. When I blew at it, it was kind of like, la, 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 and I was like, oh no. So, okay, I think we're okay now. All right, let me bring you in for a close-up. I don't know, still pretty wobbly. Let's spin her out a little bit more. Yikes, yikes, yikes. You know, not the greatest composition, but I don't hate it. I can tell that there's something ugly in that paint, but when I tried to get it, I couldn't find it, and I'm afraid to mess with it. All right, let me bring you down for a close-up so you can see these beautiful colors. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the description box. These are always so fun. And don't forget about the discount codes. and I'll be right back. Right, my phone case has so much paint on it. So check out these colors. Is that not outstanding? Check it out. Woohoo! Look at that. So even though these have a little bit of color in them, this part's kind of messed up looking, but we won't focus on that. Even though they have a little bit of color in them, they work great for this because you can see some of that is the opalite. You see all the different color? They work great for this because against a dark background, they work like an interference color on steroids. Check that out. So yeah, what do you think? I know the blowout's not the best. You can tell by how my paint is reacting to my cell activator. That's my fault because it was sinking because of how I blew it out. But I still think it turned out okay. We're a work in progress. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and thanks for all your support. As always, have a great day and talk to you soon. Bye.